What up, brothers? Good afternoon and welcome back to my channel. I'm going to do a new review on a custom piece that I've been kindly sent by a Facebook friend of mine, a guy called Owen Scott Montague. Massive shout out to him for lending me this and the other figure they lent me, which would also be classed as custom, for firstly trusting me enough to send me the figure and know that I'm not going to break it nor try and run away with it or anything like that. Massive shout out to him for that. Also, respect to the fact that he wants to see my point of view on these figures and can obviously take it that regardless what I say, it's still a figure he loves and will always love, I would think. I think my opinion would not really sway in one way or the other. And like I said, the fact that he has got an expensive collection, or so it seems, but he's willing to share it with you guys via me. So massive shout out to Owen for that. Secondly, a massive shout out to the creator of this piece, because he has actually messaged me this morning via Facebook, and it is Johnny, I think it's Cheungkinmen. I'm sure I'm crucifying his name. I hope that's not the case, but I'm trying to say it as it's wrote, sort of thing. So yeah, massive shout out to the creator of this piece. Sent me a message through Facebook today, which I did find quite funny, and because it's sort of the mutual respect between myself and him, even going back before he even realised I got this piece, I think I'm going to read it, because also what it will do is it will serve as a way to sort of prove I'm not been begging figures for anybody, regardless what anybody will tell you, customizers or not. I do talk to people because I don't see anybody above me, and I try not to act above anyone else. And I do get on with a lot of these guys, but like I said and I made clear before, although they're friends or acquaintances or Facebook friends or whatever they want to call themselves, I will still be more than prepared to be honest about the product in hand. So as you can see straight away, I don't even have to say it. You're probably thinking, fucking hell, that looks nice. It is a very, very nice figure. I am going to go into full detail as if it's being sent to me by Hot Toys or Enterbay or Blitzway or anybody else, any other company you want to name. I'm going to review it as I see it, sort of thing. So everything will be picked up, the critiques, the good points, and I'll try to give a fair, unbiased review on the figure I see in front of me. So let's get to the message that Johnny sent me today on Facebook. Right, onto this. If it were personal information, I wouldn't share it, so just rest assured I wouldn't show you if it were anything that would harm anyone else. But I just found it funny because it sort of led me to believe that I'm kind of getting a name of being some kind of internet troll who's just out to fucking hurt people. That's not the case at all, and most unnaive people can see that. So yeah, I wanted to show that because I found it funny, because when it gets to the end comment, it will all become clear. But anyway, this is my message to him, and this is March of last year. A quick behind this, I'd seen his street version, Rocky Balboa. Obviously, you guys who know my channel know Rocky would be one of the key characters I would want, possibly in DX form or any form as long as it were good. I'd seen a picture of Johnny's streetwear Rocky, and I thought, fucking hell, that is awesome. That is everything I want the streetwear version to look like. And I was really, really tempted. I probably had some money at the time and thought, oh, that's the one I want. But anyway, this is what I sent him. Please don't misconceive it as begging. Anyway. And I just started off, as I always do, with, hello, my friend. I don't know if you know me from YouTube, the Clipper King, as I were at the time. But I've been looking at your Rocky Balboa pictures, and I was wondering how much it would cost, and do you have them still for sale? If they're not for sale, is there any way I could review one for YouTube and return it? I had a couple of my reviews below, so you can check my videos. Thank you, Rick. And then these are just links that I sort of sent to him just to show the style of review I would do, or to prove the sort of views I'd got on certain reviews. And that's basically what I sent him. Obviously at this point I don't know him, he could be anybody. But anyway, this is what he sent me back. Hey Rick, yes, I do know who you are. I watch your reviews from time to time. Street clothing Rocky is long sold out, unfortunately. Back then I only did as a kit, so it was around $500 price, depending on some minor accessories, but no body included. As for the review, I would love to, but as Rocky is in a display in a design university, I lent them the figure as an exhibition, so right now it would be kind of difficult. And a massive shout out to him, because I think I sent him the question one day and he pretty much got straight back to me. So I do like that, because again, he comes across how I try to in general, as not a million miles away from you or too elite to talk to you. Anyway, so I just put, okay, my friend, no problem. But in the future, it would be an honour to showcase your work for the on a worldwide forum. That's basically what I sent him. So I've never begged anything, don't want anything for free. I've made this clear before. And then he sent me one back. Thanks, Rick. The honour would be all mine. Again, a really nice touch because it makes me feel like he sees me as an equal. So I did like that. Anyway, the thing that made me laugh was kind of this message. Anyway. Hey Rick, how's it going, buddy? I can't wait to see your review on Freddie. I know it's far from perfect, but I'm a one-man gang. Oh, but it's a one-man gang. Also wanted to say you should keep up drawing. That's obviously following on to me drawing pictures. Thanks for that. And maybe try your hand at sculpting. The key to a great sculpt is great drawing, as you understand facial details perfectly, judging by your latest video. Anyway, let me know when the review is up. I'm kind of scared, honestly, haha, as I know you're a very straightforward individual, and that's good. And that's what he sent me. I did send him a message back and basically said, look, don't believe everything you've heard. I'm not a fucking monster who's out here to kill anybody. I have seen the figure. I've already put a video up. I just found it funny that he probably thought to himself, fucking hell, what have I got coming? This is going to be a shitstorm. I can say from the start, if that's what you've come to watch, it's not that at all, because there's a lot of things I really, really like about this figure. There is also the downsides, but I think you're going to get that with most customs. But I just think it's worthwhile telling the masses what to expect, because then if they were to spend the money on a piece that they would really love, then I don't think they're going to be disappointed. It actually helps the artists, I think, because they're not sort of blindly or selling to blind customers who expect the world because they're paying a lot of money. That's not always the case, although you will end up with an iconic piece from a license that you would really, really love that some of the big companies might never touch. So like I said, I did find the message funny, and massive shout out to him for sending it me, and again, massive shout out to Owen for letting me see this figure. Right, let me stop bullshitting and crack on with the review. We'll do the source material, and I think I've probably mentioned before, I'm not Queen's biggest fan. In fact, there are a lot I didn't like about them. Mainly because, if I try and explain it like this, I was born in 74. So sort of late 70s, I were hearing music but not really taking much note about it. Sort of early 80s to mid 80s were probably my most influential years. So the music I picked up then pretty much stuck with me. Namely Michael Jackson and Prince, and maybe in later years the Smiths. I stuck with them, really liked them. Queen, on the other hand, if you think about the music they were putting out mid-80s, we're talking probably It's a Kind of Magic album. And thinking of the songs from that, I Want to Break Free, I think Radio Gaga were from that, and a couple of others. Really, really over-the-top camp, if you think about it. I mean, the I Want to Break Free video is pretty much dressed up as a character from Coronation Street and prancing around like a batty boy. Now, to each their own. Nothing against if people of that persuasion, but it weren't really the sort of thing I wanted. Now, the strange thing were, the artists I did lean towards were Michael Jackson, which then I suppose came on to be possibly uncoolest artist you could have supported sort of from 91 onwards because of all the shit he was getting himself into. But that is just how the mind works. You sort of pick something up young, and I suppose because my family weren't massive Queen fans, then I never gravitated towards them either. Also, another thing that sort of kills Freddie Mercury for me, and no pun intended, this was the first sign I got to an age then, sort of 91, coming up to 20, and I'm starting to sense the sycophantic nature of people in general, and this was the biggest case of that, I thought. Nobody had spoke about Freddie Mercury since mid-80s, yet when he come out and admitted finally that he was HIV positive and that he'd got AIDS, every fucker seemed to be a Queen fan, and I thought, you've not spoke about him for 6-7 years, yet now you find out he's on death's door and he's gonna sadly pass away. Every fucker wants to start raving about him, even down to the point where Imagine used to always be considered the greatest British #1 single. That changed, it all changed. So straight away, Bohemian Rhapsody shoots up charts and everybody jumps on board, and I just don't like that. I'm pretty much, I don't know, fucking pick your colours and nail them to the mast. I'm that sort of guy. So that really does kill Queen for me. I will also say on the flip side of that, I do still feel that the soundtracks they did for Islander and Flash Gordon still stand up now. I think they're really good work. And I will say, there is songs that I don't mind. There's songs they do that I fucking hate. I loathe them. They come on radio and I can't turn it over quick enough. But I will say the song I used for the short music video of the day, the Who Wants to Live Forever, I think it's very profound and it is a really, really good song. Now, if I wanted to be brutal with this, I could score it as I see them and it would be very low. I don't like them. But I'm not a fucking, I don't know, a fucking reviewing monster who thinks that my opinion means more than that. I can understand that probably behind the Rolling Stones or the Beatles being number one, Queen are probably the biggest British band of all time. I can concede that. And I can concede that the people that do like them will love them and probably won't like to hear anything said bad about them. But like I say, I'm not a massive fan. But I was asked by Dean last, probably 2 years ago now, who would you consider the great British icons? And if I think about it now, I would have to put Freddie Mercury up there. Probably, obviously, he's the frontman of the band, so that's the case. He's not my cup of tea, but I can say the source material will be really high. I wouldn't feel honest to myself if I give it a perfect 5 out of 5, but I am more than happy to give it a 4 and sort of concede to the masses that that is how highly they would see them. Rolling on to the packaging, and I'm going to try and cover this and again be fair with what I'm saying. When you do pick up a custom figure or a one of a kind or a 1 of 20 or whatever, anything that would class as custom, you're not going to expect it to be Hot Toys quality or Hot Toys standard or however you want to see it, sort of thing. Obviously, the mass-produced companies, they can throw a lot more money at the packaging. They use the same prints or the net, and then they will just print on the different things. So they know the boxes are tried and tested, they work, and that is what you expect. From a custom company, obviously, they're going to try and save the cost on the box, which I do understand as much as anybody else understands it. As long as they package it, then that's good enough. What I do like about this, and which I dislike about other certain things, he's actually tried. He's actually tried to bring you something that's presentational. I'll be honest and say it's not the best quality card you've ever seen. In fact, it's pretty much just a cardboard box, folded away, tucked away, and it's not reinventing the wheel, so to speak. But like I said, the fact that he's starting to think, well, hold on a minute, this figure is going to go out at a certain price. I've got to at least try. Now you can see the top graphics is sort of the view from the stage of the old Wembley Stadium. It's got the wraparound sort of slip with a Queen motif on it, which is nicely printed. All I find with it is you can see it's slightly out of shape, but obviously that's because of how it's been stored. I would think it's probably been stood up, so what happens is the sides sort of bow out a little bit. If it had been flat or compressed in, that would have held its square shape better. Moving down, again, Freddie from the back, looking out into Wembley Stadium. If I just slip that down, you see that it has got the Queen print underneath. If I can get this off one-handed, I'm not sure I can, bear with me. Oh, come off. Bit unprofessional, but needs must. So that's it without the slip. Obviously signed here and dated. It must have been out pretty recent. Again, like I said, it's just folded in. And then on the back, some quotes, what the figure is, and then the cast and creators on there. Some recognisable names. Obviously, most people would know Cheungkinmen, sculptor and painter. Unso, I think most people, custom world, would know for the clothing. He's pretty much considered one of the best. I would say possibly with Kato in the custom world. Not that I would know or be an authority on it, but it just shows you the credits on the back. I do like inside is pretty much just the foam housing, and that is probably all it would need to be because there's not many extras with it. So, like I said, I can't be a bullshitter and tell you it's a 5 out of 5 because it's not. Like I said before, that I would be comparing it to the Hot Toys Godfather box, and it definitely isn't that. I would normally give an Hot Toys slipcover box a 3. I would normally give the iMini-Me box now a 1 because it's very boring and it's been used over and over again and there's no graphics at all. Like I said, I do like the fact that he has tried with this at least. Even the fact that he signed it and dated it, to me, it just shows that he is conscious of the presentational value of what the buyer is receiving. So for that reason, I am going to give the packaging a 2 out of 5. Moving on to the lightness, and before we crack on, I'll just show you, I have changed up the pose. Just got him like prancing forward, so to speak. So his fist clenched and looking up towards the microphone. I just hope I can get the camera close to the head. Right, I will start off by saying it is the first sculpt or paint job I've seen by Johnny, and I've got to say I am really impressed with it. Obviously, the initial sculpt was hand sculpted, clearly, and obviously each one will be hand painted by himself, the way the box explains it. And I think it is a really, really clean sculpt. And by clean sculpt, I mean very, very smooth looking, very, I don't know, not like if I were to take into account the Blondie, for example. Obviously, he's got the, Trevor's style is very different. Trevor's style is very, I can't say accurate because that would lead to think that this is not accurate. I don't know, the paws are very deep, the crow's feet are very deep, very pronounced. This one looks very, very clean, very smooth, yet the sort of, the dimensions and the textures look really good. So if I just move it to the other side so we can pick this up as well. You can see the airline is clean and painted well. The thing I like most about this, when you look at Freddie Mercury, one of the first things you think is teeth in hellfire. He has got some fucking overbite. He could eat a fucking apple through a letterbox. His teeth are that prominent. So yeah, I like the way that he sculpted the lip and sort of the overbite, although his lips are concealing his teeth, and then the tash coming round. I just think it looks bang on. I actually, when I look at the sculpt, I actually see sort of a mixture of, I'll try and explain this. If I sort of look at it from there, so what's in shot now, I think is perfect for this incarnation of Freddie Mercury. Mid-80s, I would think. Mid to late 80s, I'm thinking. So sort of from there down is fucking bang on accurate. If I go from there up, comes across to me as a very, very much older Freddie Mercury. So sort of late 80s and maybe going into even closer to the time he died. The eyes look very, I don't know if the cheekbones look more prominent and the eyes look a little bit more sunk, but like I said, all in all, it is instantly recognisable and very, very good, I've got to be honest. Again, paintwork as well, very clean, very natural tones. I can't say enough good about it, but like I said, when I look at it, I see sort of a mixture of the face. I can't really fucking explain it. Like there down is definitely, to this outfit, I've looked at the stills, it's bang on. Fucking bullseye all the way. Like I said, from that section of the nose upwards, I think the eyes are a couple of years older. But like I said, all in all, it is awesome. And like looking at it like that, you'd never fucking mistake who it were, would you? So yeah, really do like it. I don't take into account it's hand sculpted or hand painted. It don't matter to me that at all, although I can respect the artist for doing it and the time it takes. It's not easy. It's not like just putting it through a machine. I know all that, but like I've said before, I can only take into account what is in my hand, not how it got to be there. So the head sculpt, saying all that, I am still going to give it a 5 out of 5. I think some angles as well, this is another point, some angles, and I want to try and get you them all, do look better than others. So I think that's to do with the width of the cheekbones, to be honest, or where the shadow lies. But yeah, really good. I will mention while I'm talking head sculpt, the sort of the dividing line between head sculpt to neck is a little bit more, well, if I'm being honest, a lot more obvious than an Hot Toys one, because the Hot Toys one would sort of, the air would be flush into the neck, but when I show you the body, that'll become obvious why that is the case. So yeah, you do notice the neck to head split more than you would a mass-produced figure. But again, if I show you this now, you will expect that if you were to buy a custom piece. So I just thought it would be worth a mention. But like I said, it is definitely close enough for me, sculpt and paintwork, and I am going to give the likeness a 5 out of 5. Rolling on to his outfit, and I'll first off, before I even move in, say there's not a lot to it. It's basically trousers, undershirt, jacket and sculpted trainers. So what there is would have to be good. Now, is that the case? Let's move in. First off, give you a look at the pose. Very signature pose, and pretty much the pose I used for the music video. You put your Google box on and have a look. Just type in Freddie Mercury live at Wembley and I guarantee that pose will come up. So I had to put it in. No brainer. Right, so let's have a look. Obviously it comprises of the yellow military style jacket. I say military because of the buckle up section at the front. But let's start at the top. The bracelet, it's more like a sweatband to be honest, around the wrist is sculpted into place, and I will probably show that in a minute when I get onto the body. You can see the cuffs of the jacket. I will say firstly, the jacket is like a cotton material, and then it has like the tinsel style cuffs on the edge of the cuff sort of here. See the white on yellow, or the sort of white with the, sorry, yellow with the white piping. Moving down. Again, the tinsel effect sort of here. The gold lining on the belts that go across. The small metal rings where they would be sort of buckled up. Obviously it won't reach across there. On this side, again looking at the lapel, looking at the lining on the collar, sort of piping down the shoulder. Really, really clean and really well done. Like I say, I think all the outfit would be done by Unsel, I would think. Like I said, not a person whose work I'm familiar with other than this piece, but what I would say is I'm very impressed with it, and I think they've reproduced it really well. I'd say it moves freely as well, so it doesn't hinder the body. We're moving down onto the white trousers with the red and gold sort of piping down the outside. Again, the similar style belt, but in white. And moving down to one of the most impressive things I think about the outfit is the sculpted Adidas boot slash shoe. I do like them because of the texturing on it, and obviously they're very, very accurate looking. Even the suede section sort of at the front, they do look really accurate. Again, if you wanted to check it on the internet, have a look and you will see that they're nearly, in fact I would say they are bang on accurate. Even if I pull that up, fucking come up. Even the length, like I said, they are more like a boxing boot or like an eye top design sort of thing. Again, really well done. Do like that about it. Again, the trousers are similar cotton material to the jacket. The only thing I weren't sure about when I first unboxed it was the t-shirt, for two reasons. I think it's a little bit too baggy or this is what I thought, it's a little bit too baggy in this area. Could do with being a little bit more fitted. I suppose I could tuck it in better, which I have tried to do, but it seems to still always sort of gather up in this area. And I also thought that the split here was very crude looking. Now that was my mistake, I'll be honest, because when I go back and I check the images online, it is really, really accurate to how it appeared on stage. So, like I say, I looked at it and I thought, oh, that doesn't look good, it looks a little bit cheap. That's not the case. It's actually how it looks in real life, so I take that back. It did also come with a flash t-shirt, which is pretty much like the third-party t-shirts you can buy online from the Magic Cube and other Wild Toys and places like that. I will probably show that as an extra instead of an outfit because I don't want to swap it out. Like I said, the outfit, everything you get is good, and like I said, the trainers in particular are really, really good. There's nothing where it looks inaccurate. There's no place where it don't fit as it should. Like I said, it weren't to my taste, the t-shirt, but it does look accurate. So I've got to say, I like the fact it doesn't hinder the articulation either. Like I said, there's not a lot to it, so I couldn't give it a perfect 5, but I'm more than happy to give it a 4 because what there is really well done. Right, moving on to the body, or articulation, whatever you want to say. Now, I haven't put it in a pose for this category, for the simple reason is, I just wanted to show this thing in particular. And the reason I want to do that is because it covers also a couple of the sculpts that Rain Man, or a couple of the figures, sorry, that Rain Man's also done. So I'm sort of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm showing this figure, but I'm also showing the things that's out there on these custom pieces. So if we look at this, if I scan back to about there. Now, obviously you can see he's topless, I don't have to explain that. I will say as well, and to make this pretty sure, the body is really good. I'm not sure that it's 100% true type, but it is a really good body. And by that I mean all the articulation points move really well and smooth and hold position really well. The only hindered section of the articulation is this wrist, simply because of the sculpted sweatband. The ankles aren't even hindered that much because the boot is not that high, and in the neck. Now I'm going to show this. Now, bearing in mind, this might look unsightly, but I'm showing it you for a reason. Come off. As you can see, it's basically a ball, a sculpted ball that leads down into a sculpted chest section, which I will say, the chest section I really do like. You see how it fits onto the body. The shape of it is really good, so it doesn't hinder the forward and back on the shoulders. So again, posability still really good. It leads up into the head. Like I said, there's no movement on that, so the only head articulation would come from sort of how it will move on the ball. So obviously it will go side to side, only a tiny bit of forward and back, but it that's how it sits on the body. Now, I like this idea, I've got to be honest, because not particularly on this figure, but in general, certain figures would need a sculpted neck or a sculpted chest, depending on what they're wearing. Whereas on this figure, I'm not sure it works, because I don't think, with the yellow jacket being so good, you would ever pose this figure topless. Particularly as well, because where the chest looks awesome, the arms still look a little bit toyish and unsightly because of the joints. Now, I'm glad that because it's going to be covered most of the time, they did use the double bend elbow. I really like that. But if you were to have a figure like a, let's say, a training version of Rocky, so the grey jogger suit, I think the fact that they can put on this sculpted section will give the good definition that you would need. And I think it would work on this figure if underneath the jacket they put a really tight white singlet, pretty much like, bear with me, like the one I've got on my Way of the Dragon bros. If they'd have put a singlet on it like that, that chest section would look a right touch, because it'd sort of come down there, you'd see the sculpted hair, and then the jacket on top. I think it would give a really good look, although it wouldn't be screen accurate. So like I said, I do like as well the fact that it's not just, oh, let's just chuck in a cheap shit body that's going to flop around. The hands aren't going to stay on, and it's not going to pose right. They haven't done that. They've took a body that already works really well, smooth, holds the pose, holds the hands. They've done that, but on top of that, they said, but we've got to try something else. We're pushing the price up. What can we do? Put this sculpted chest section on. I think, again, shows the intentions are really good, as if to say, it's an high-end collection, let's put it on. Now, like I've said, because the t-shirt, bear with me, the t-shirt that does come with it, although looks accurate, like I say, with a sort of rip section there, and how it's capped sleeved, it does look accurate to the pictures, but it doesn't complement the body. It should be tighter, that way you would be showing off the awesome work that you've done on the chest, and that is my only critique as far as the body goes. So, what did I write down? I've given it a 4. Like I say, it is basically a true type. Feels like a true type. I don't know if it is a case that it is a true type, like one of the older style sort of medium build ones, but then with a modified chest and neck. But like I say, it holds a pose and it does everything I want to do. I would think I'd be able to put it any pose that I can, any of them damn toy figures. So there's nothing I can really knock it down on other than the hindered articulation here and sort of on the top of the neck. So I have given the body a 4 out of 5. Rolling on to the extras and the value, and I'll probably sum it up at this point as well, because they all sort of go hand in hand, I suppose. Before I do, I'll just zoom away, show you the pose. I'm pretty much kneeling down and leant back, just singing into the mic. Yep. So that's what I went for, just to show obviously the legs will articulate as well, and it does look pretty natural down there, sort of ending a song down his knees, belting one out. So that's the thing, the thinking behind the pose. The extras, right. Basically I'll go through what he brings. Obviously he comes head sculpt, body, clothing, hands. The hands are sculpted, so they're not reused Hot Toys hands. They are done particularly for this figure. The right hand is sort of right hand and wrist, all sculpted down into the sweatband. Like I said before, it does hinder the articulation on the hand a little bit, but it is nice for most of the poses you would want him in. The left hand is, as you can see, the cut-off mic stand with a mic, but it's sculpted into place with that hand. Now, that hand lacks a little bit of detail, if I'm honest, and I like the fact they've done this because it holds it and it does look natural holding it. But what I wish they would have also done is given you some interchangeable hands and the mic and mic stand again, simply because like there's scenes where he would sort of pretend he's playing the guitar using the mic stand, which you can't do because of how he's holding the mic. I just think it would have opened your pose options if you didn't only get them 2 hands. So additional hands would have been nice, and probably would have been pretty cheap as well, and not would have been, they wouldn't have been, I don't know, out of the price range to put in a figure that comes for this value. Because I think you can pick up a set of sort of universal hands on eBay for probably £8 a set. So I don't think that would have been stretching the budget too far. So that's what I would have asked. What else did it bring? The certificate of authenticity. Let's move down. Limited edition. Company name. And down. Thank you for your support. Number 16 of 20. And then signed. Most custom pieces will bring that. And I think that if you paid that much for it, you would want that, because it does show that of the original sets, you have got one of them. Another item which could class as clothing, I choose to use it as an outfit because I didn't want to swap the figure into that outfit. It is the Flash, like the Flash Gordon t-shirt on the back with a flash on it. Like I said, it is nice enough, it's okay, but it's sort of, I don't know, you could get it from any third-party company on eBay for probably £6, £7, £8, I would think. I saw a yellow one with Bruce Lee motif on front that looked better than this one did, but that's just being honest sort of thing. So not so much an extra on that. The one extra I do really like is this, and it is sort of a, as you see, it's the Freddie Mercury Wembley Progress booklet by the company, and I do like the fact that it makes you appreciate what goes into this, or what he did to get the figure from a piece of plasticine or clay or whatever to become what you see in your hand. So it does help you notice that, and I do really like it. I think the artwork's really good, and I will say in these pictures, most of them, there is only 20, so it does show that one of them there is the one that is now here. So again, it just sort of, if you're the person that's bought it and you are a massive fan of this license or of this character or person, whatever, then you're going to think, fucking hell, my figure is in that booklet. I do like that. I think it's the right touch of class, to be honest, even down to the chest sculpt. The fact that that chest sculpt's also been used with another head, that looks like Cyclops to me. Going for it, I do want to show most of this. Again, on another head, on the Freddie Mercury. Shows these have obviously just come out of the moulds. Looking good. The chests all painted up. Wearing the Flash t-shirt. can see the mic is sculpted and sculpted to the hand, so I just talked about. The hands are all individual sculpts. Like I say, it's just what it says it is, the progress, the work that went into making this figure. 2 different jackets, although it didn't bring the white and red one. I don't know if that's additional or how that worked out, but this set doesn't have it, although I do quite like it. The body, and then the body with the chest attached. Sculpt on the boot. Again, from scratch, right through to painted, and on the figure, looking good. On the boots, the outfit, so the tailoring on the outfit. See, just a quick flick through what you get. I do really like it because I think it'd be interesting to see the process that goes into a lot of these figures. And you can see here the figures just pretty much posed up, and these would probably be the prototypes or the production shots. Picture of Johnny himself there, which is pretty much like his Facebook profile picture, although I think he's wearing a fake tash on that to go with the figure. Only on the figures, and a message to the buyers. Really do like it. It's something pretty simple, but it is a right touch of class, and I think it shows that it actually does appreciate your custom, and I like that touch about it. It's a very familiar touch. So, didn't bring a lot. Also, I spoke to Owen and said that there is going to be another head sculpt made available. A more like a singing head sculpt. I've seen the photo of that also, and that also looks very nice, but because it's not with this set, I can't take that into account. If I would have, I'd have probably give the extras. An head sculpt makes all the difference to me, and like I said, just something simple like the separate and a microphone, it would have been pretty easy to do, and also bump the extra score up. But because I can only score what is actually here in hand, I'm gonna give it a 2. And like I said, most of that 2 basically goes to that booklet, because I think it is a really good idea and I really appreciate it being in there. So, a 2 on the extras, moving straight on to the value. Now this is the category I always struggle with on a figure that's not mine, because it don't matter to me what it costs. It's not costing me anything. All it's going to cost me is the postage to send it back. So, also the fact that I wouldn't buy a Freddie Mercury figure because it doesn't mean enough to me. So I've got to sort of take my brain out of my own head and say to myself, how can you still score it pretty fairly? Now, I'll tell you, I always go down this route with a custom figure. They cost a lot to start with, that's understandable, and if you want them, you'll pay that amount. Now, I told this in the region of $600, which is £400 at the moment. That is a lot for anything, for any figure. You're moving into sort of vehicle territory when you get into £400 for a figure. Now, if it's one of 20, does that make it more valuable, or should it cost more? Then I see both sides of it, if I'm honest. I know the artists want to make money and they can't spread the cost because they're only making a limited run. I also know that the value holds. This figure will probably always be worth this amount, so I take that into account also. Bang for the buck, I take that into account, and for this you don't get a lot for your money. That is the honest truth as well. If it had got the additional head for that price, then I would have been a little bit more likely to say it were better value. Now what I said is, and I cut it straight down to the simple thing, it costs a lot to start with. You don't get a lot of extras for that price, but that price will probably never drop like most of the Hot Toys will. So I went straight down the line and give it a 3 out of 5. Now on the back of that, I also sent a message to Owen saying, look, I'm not a Freddie Mercury fan or a Queen fan, so the value to me is a little bit up in air. I said, I'll tell you now, I've scored it a 3 out of 5. What do you think? He says, well, I can appreciate the head sculpt. I do love the character. I do know the seamstress that did the work. And to me, the value would be slightly higher, and I would give it a 4. Either way, like I said, I will concede to him. If that's what he values the figure at, fair enough. But like I've said before, I've got to review it as I see it. And I see the value as a 3 out of 5. Which, to be honest, is not really... It's not really a negative thing. What I'm saying is it costs you a lot first, but you're going to get your money back on the back end. That is basically what I'm saying. So that gives the figure an all-over score of 24 out of a possible 35. Again, I think that is a really reasonable score. You get up over 20 and you're looking at a figure that ticks a lot of boxes in a lot of different categories. There's some things that a mass-produced collector wouldn't know about a custom figure, namely how the body is, or the sculpted hands, or so on and so forth. So I have tried to cover all that and tried to be really fair and to not come across as some brutal idiot who's just attacking things, which I think some people perceive me as, although I don't think I ever actually been that. But like I said, massive shout out to Johnny for making it, to Owen for lending it me. It's been a good one. I've enjoyed working with it. Like I said, not a massive fan of Freddie Mercury, no Queen, but I do like to see everything because that builds knowledge. So for now, this is the artist formerly known as the Clipper King, and I'm out of here.